This is a version of Pokemon and its world that you've never seen before. I played Pokemon Adventure Red, a game based on the real Adventure Red manga series. Now, this was quite the journey. We get to explore the life of the real Red, experience the manga, and even see Team Rocket at their peak of evil. So if you are ready, let's go. We start our journey as young Red and we decide to go outside and play. And as we are going around, we meet a bunch of different people and also find a little Poliwag. And yes, this is actually the starter Pokemon of Red in the manga. And of course, we're going to call him Polly because that's the exact name that he gives to it. Either way, after doing this, we also get to know that, well, it looks like the character of Blue, well, she goes missing. Then we see 5 years pass and, well, Red's little Poliwag is evolved into a Poliwhirl now, and he's out there just chilling in Pallet-town when all of a sudden Kelly, a girl trying to catch a Nidorino, needs some help. So Red, just like in the manga, well, we go over and we help her out. We defeat the Nidorino and let her capture it, which is perfect. And after doing all of this, it's time to head into the forest. As we go towards the forest, well, we notice a Team Rocket member who is, well, being a little bit sketchy. This is also the same thing in the manga. And after dealing with the Team Rocket members, we run into Mew. Yes, well, Red doesn't really know that it is Mew, but nonetheless, that's what happens. We also run into Green, and together we try to take on the Mew. However, he gets angry at us, and eventually, well, we go back home. After waking up the next day, well, we all got a bit of a cold, but we're told to go to Professor Oak. So we head over to his lab. Inside, we find 4 different Pokemon, and, well, we try to take the Bulbasaur. Unfortunately, they all freak out when Professor Oak comes in and run away. And so Professor Oak now thinks we are a thief, so we gotta go really quickly and find all the missing Pokemon, which is exactly what we do. We find the first few very easily, but unfortunately, Bulbasaur is a little bit more difficult. Eventually, we find it in the forest. Professor Oak thinks we still stole it, and, well, it ran towards Viridian City. So, together with Professor Oak, we head towards Viridian City to look for the missing Bulbasaur. It takes a while to find it, but eventually we find it next to and actually inside of the Viridian City gym. We go inside, we try to grab it. However, a Machoke comes out of nowhere and knocks out Professor Oak, so it's up to us to actually battle and take it down. The Machoke, luckily for us, is not that difficult to defeat, and once we win the battle, well, Professor Oak actually, well, he tells us we can keep the Bulbasaur because we, well, are more attached to it than he is. So we get exactly that, and he also eventually rewards us with a Pokedex and tells us to go on a journey. So we tell our mom we're going to go on a Pokemon journey, and that's where the journey actually begins. So the chapter ends there. We also get to witness Green in the forest, seemingly trying to hunt down a Pokemon, so we're going to head towards the Viridian Forest as well. On our way towards the Viridian Forest, though, we do run into Daisy Oak, which is actually the sister of specifically Green. She gives us an item, and then we actually get into the forest itself. Once we get there, we notice that, well, Green is seemingly battling a Kangaskhan, and, well, we realize something is wrong. The Kangaskhan is trying to protect its baby, which is currently seemingly, well, poisoned. So what do? Well, we stop him from doing that and battle him, and then we go and find the Kangaskhan, and it turns out, yep, like we mentioned, its baby is poisoned, so we gotta go find a berry to heal it. Luckily, we actually ran into a Nurse Joy that was looking for berries up in the other part of the forest, so we go up right up there and actually do exactly that. We help out the little baby Kangaskhan, and that's that mission finished as well. Either way, though, now that we've done that, we're going to be heading into the next location, which is going to be, of course, Pewter City. As we're leaving the forest, though, something happens in the forest itself. A bunch of people that were inside of there seemingly are getting attacked by something. We don't know exactly what is attacking them, but the nurse gets attacked, a researcher gets attacked, like literally everybody gets attacked by some kind of Pokemon. Again, we do not know exactly what it is that's going on, but hopefully we'll figure it out a bit later in the story. As we get to Pewter City, we see 3 old men trying to capture a Pikachu for some reason, and wow, well, the Pikachu basically knocks them all out and then runs away. Well, Red thinks it's kind of funny. Nonetheless, though, Red then heads to the city and talks to the Pokemart lady, who actually tells him that, hey, this Pikachu is wreaking havoc. If you can capture it as a trainer, that would be pretty awesome. So we go around looking for the Pikachu, and eventually we do find it. It takes a bit of time to capture it, but eventually we do get it, and we nickname it Pika, exactly like what he does in the manga. After doing this, though, well, Green shows up again and tells us that, well, we are weaklings and we should race and see who can actually get the Boulder Badge, the first gym badge in Pewter City from the gym leader Brock first. Well, let's see how that goes. So, the chapter ends there and the Boulder Badge chapter begins. We head over to the Pewter City gym and get inside. Now, the way that's going to work here is almost like a bit of a tournament. We're going to battle a few different people, and whoever gets out at the end gets to battle the gym leader Brock. So, the first person is a relatively easy battle. However, the second person uses a really strong team, and this girl is crazy. She's talking about destroying us, and she just goes really nuts, to the point that Brock actually has to kick her out of the actual gym. He has to basically ask the guards to escort her out because, well, she's just nuts. Either way, after dealing with that, it's time to take on Brock. Now, he kind of gets a little insulted by the fact that our Pikachu isn't listening to us when we first tried to like battle him, so he's a little bit angry about that and vows to destroy us. However, we get into the battle, and guess what? He is using a weird combination, almost a fusion of Geodudes. They're like working together, and this is a real thing in the manga, by the way, because the manga goes crazy with Pokemon stuff. They even kill Pokemon. It's actually pretty insane. But nonetheless, though, after dealing with this, it's, well, not that much of a challenge left anymore. We do have Poliwhirl, as I mentioned before, which is an extremely strong Pokemon against his, well, rock type. So we take down Brock in no time. We get ourselves our first gym badge. We then leave Pewter City and head towards specifically Route 4 and 5 towards Mount Moon, but then we run into Green and he makes us have a battle with him. Now, in the actual game, we do defeat him here. His team is relatively easy because, again, we have the advantage on his Charmeleon, but because this is following the manga, he technically loses here, so he's acting as if he won when he didn't. I really hate Blue. Actually, no, not Blue, Green. As we close in on Mount Moon, we specifically run into a girl who looks oddly similar to Misty, dealing with a Gyarados that's going berserk. She can't seem to be able to actually deal with it, so instead, we go in and try to help her. We defeat the Gyarados and capture it for her and give it back to her, and well, it turns out that her Gyarados just went crazy after some people stole it. We assume it's most likely Team Rocket, and to ask for some help, we decide to go and ask Professor Oak. So together with this girl called Misty, which of course you guys know who that is, we go and talk to Professor Oak inside the Pokemon Center by calling him. He tells us that Team Rocket are most likely the ones doing this stuff and stealing these Pokemon and probably doing something to them, so now we're going to go inside Mount Moon together with Misty. We find a bunch of Team Rocket members in there. We fight through all of them, and I really mean there is a lot of them, where eventually we get towards the end of battling with them when we discover, wow, okay, so Koga is here. Now, Koga in the manga is actually evil. He's part of Team Rocket. He works for them. He actually still is a gym leader, but he instead decided, well, I don't like being a gym leader. There's not enough power in being a gym leader. I'm instead going to actually be part of Team Rocket because I'll get more money, power, and everything from that. Nonetheless, though, we battle him and take him down. We take down his Rhyhorn in this case, or Rhydon, I think. I'm not even sure. We take him down, though, after he uses some sort of, I guess, some sort of serum to evolve it right away. And we also, you know, help out Misty by carrying her out of the Mount Moon cave because, well, she was knocked out in the first battle. Either way, that's that. Now we make our way towards Cerulean City. She says to meet up down the line somewhere in Cerulean City if we want to hang out. And of course, it's raining outside, so we head over. Turns out she's living in a massive mansion. Yes, for some reason, Misty is super rich. And as we're talking to her, well, we make some fun of her and she gets a bit angry and starts goofing on us because she wants to work really hard to take down Team Rocket and train more, but, well, we as Red think we are way stronger than we actually are. So, at night, as we're sleeping in the mansion, a random Starmie, something is attacking us, and we decide to battle it. As we defeat it, well, we freak out about what's going on. The next day, we wake up and we ask, well, where is the gym and who is the gym leader? Well, they don't tell us, they just laugh at us, and, well, we head over to the gym and we find Misty. She's angry and she actually attacks us with her Pokemon to well, kind of prove a point to us that, yeah, we shouldn't be joking around, we should take it seriously, then Team Rocket are dangerous. So, we go heal up, and now it's time to actually battle Misty and her gym. First, of course, we battle through all of her little, you know, team members, all of her people in her squad. As we defeat all of them, we get all the way to Misty, and now it's time to take her on as well. Luckily, we do have Pikachu, so we can go through a few of her Pokemon relatively easily, and then finish off her gym as well, which means we have our second gym badge already. Speaking of which, before we continue, I want you guys to let me know, what is your favorite character in Pokemon? Is it red? Is it blue? Is it green? Or is it somebody else? Let me know in the comment section down below. Alright, so now we head towards Vermilion City. However, along the way, we run into these two people who are, well, arguing, and one of them is quoting Taylor Swift lyrics for some reason. I mean, hey, I don't know, whatever it floats your boat. Either way, we make it to Vermilion City, and we see a flashback to one of the people who's been here who actually run into Green, or actually Blue in this case is what her name is in this game. Either way, that's besides the point. We make it to Vermilion City, and we see the SS Anne. We decide to sneak aboard the SS Anne, and as we're just exploring it, we find a room where something strange is going on, and then we get kicked off the boat, and a guy called the Pokemon Fan Master, oh, I don't really know what his deal is, but he's a Pokemon fan, and he likes cute small Pokemon, and he invites us to the Pokemon Fan Club. As we go there, well, they get angry at the fact that we want to evolve our Pokemon, and the fact that our Poliwhirl is evolved and whatnot. However, one of their team members comes in and says that his Pokemon was stolen, and that it's most likely been taken to the SS Anne. So, it's our job to go inside of the SS Anne and explore. As we do a bit of exploring and battle a bunch of these sailors and stuff, we make it into a room where we discover a bunch of boxes with stolen Pokemon in them. Even in there, there is a Pokemon which we're looking for the actual, I guess, president of the Pokemon Club. He's looking for his Abra, but, well, we find an Alakazam. But either way, that doesn't matter, though. As we're doing this, we get in trouble as we run into a man who, well, looks like Lieutenant Surge and is Lieutenant Surge, who's actually here and is the one who's stolen these Pokemon. He pushes us all the way to the edge of the boat, and when we're at the edge of the boat, we fall off the boat and fall into the water. As we're actually swimming under the water, our Poliwhirl evolves into a Poliwrath. Yes, it evolves into a Poliwrath because we found a water stone. So we go back up onto the boat and we battle Lieutenant Surge. This time, we destroy his team. We take him down, no problem whatsoever. And after defeating him, we decide to go and get, well, specifically, Officer Jenny. We go get her from, like, Route 6 or something. I'm not even sure. As we get her, she goes and arrests all these guys, and then we free all the Pokemon and get the Abra, who's now evolved into an Alakazam, back to its, well, owner in this case. But he doesn't seem super happy about it. He doesn't seem to care much about it anymore. He just wants cute, small Pokemon, which I think is really messed up, to be honest. Either way, after dealing this, we receive a free bike from him, which, well, hey, that's awesome. So we go over to the next, I guess, area, and here we're going to be taking part in Route 11's race. It's a bicycle race. So we go on the race, we run into a giant Snorlax, which we defeat. We should have captured it here because guess what? Red actually does capture this one at this part in the game, but I kind of forgot about that. Either way, it doesn't really matter. We make it to the end, and we have to battle one of the guys here. Well, we take him on, take down the biker, and then we receive a Sunstone from the fella right here, which is awesome. Now that we finish that up, we can make our way to the next location. Next up, the game actually offers us to try to play as Green, as Red is wondering what Green has been up to. So we take over as Green and head over to, well, where he is, which is specifically in Lavender Town. This is a bonus chapter. Now, what's happening in Lavender Town? Well, he actually lost his Raticate. Well, yeah, Green's Raticate basically passed away. So we are here right now trying to help him out and try to find how he can get into the Pokemon Tower to bury his poor Pokemon. However, he can't really enter it, and he runs into a Doduo, which belongs to Mr. Fuji. So Mr. Fuji invites him home and tells him, well, there are ghosts in the tower. Well, of course, Green doesn't believe that, so he heads into the tower and gets attacked by something, and now he's gone. So it shifts back over to, of course, none else than our best friend, oh boy, best friend Red. Now that we're playing as Red, we actually make it to Lavender Town as well. It's really raining hard, so we're trying to find somewhere to stay safe and to get dry. Unfortunately, there is no good location for that, so instead, we are going to just try to go and find Mr. Fuji's house. We enter his house, and he lets us actually stay there and tells us that our friend Green, because, well, we asked him about that, has actually been here, and he went to the Lavender Town Tower. So we decide, okay, he's been missing for 2 weeks. Let's go help him out and see where he is. As we enter the tower, we get attacked by a zombie Psyduck. Yes, this is super crazy, but yes, in this game, there are zombies, and this is actually a real thing in the manga. There are dead Pokemon that have been risen alive by Ghastlies, which is really weird, man. Either way, we also run into a zombie, I guess, Slowbro, and then everybody in this tower has been possessed. All the trainers are possessed, and we decide to battle all of them, and it takes a while. I'm not even gonna lie, it takes a while to battle through all of these guys. And once we've beaten all of them, we run into Green, and it looks like he's being controlled by something, some kind of Pokemon, most likely Ghastly. So we battle him in a battle, and we take down his whole team, which takes a bit of time because his team is a little bit stronger than before, but after defeating him, he kind of snaps out after we take down the Ghastly. Afterwards, he's angry as to what's happened, and we decide to look around the tower and find out what's going on. We make it all the way to the top where there's a bunch of poison on the ground, and there's an Arbok here. Turns out that this is all a plot by Team Rocket, as Koga is here as well, and we battle him, and we actually manage to defeat his Arbok, but guess what? The Charmeleon from Green comes in and snaps the Arbok in half. It literally kills it, okay? This thing is dead right now. It's been actually cut in 2 pieces. It is dead. Koga runs away, and yeah, we just make it out of the tower at this point. Next up, we make it down and talk to Mr. Fuji, and then part ways with Green. After doing this, we actually head around and do a little bit of some mini quests. One of these actually running into Delia Ketchum, which is, I guess, Ash's mom, which is super weird, but either way, that doesn't really matter. After doing all this, we head towards specifically Celadon City, where the next gym will be located as well. However, along the way, we run into Blue, who's also called Green otherwise, but yeah, it's the girl character, a Leaf, if you want to call her that instead. It all depends on what way you want to approach this. Either way, though, now that we are here and we're dealing with her, she kind of scams us and gives us an item that doesn't really work as we try to use the item on our Pikachu when we run into a Nidoran that's causing trouble. So after dealing with the Nidoran the regular way, we then want to find her and punish her. Instead, we run into, well, Professor Oak at the Pokemon Center, and we talk to him, but we don't tell him that, well, she basically scammed us. Instead, we look for her and we find her trying to scam others. We run after her and try to catch her. However, she surfs over to another location. We make it all the way there. We actually battle her, and she acts as if she got knocked out, but it turns out that she just scammed us and stole our 2 badges. Yes, she stole our 2 badges, and now she went on her merry way. So now we actually get to play as Blue in this case, and well, she's down in Team Rocket's hideout. She's here, well, you know, she stole a bunch of stuff, and she's specifically here to steal another thing, a disc. Now, this disc seems to be related to specifically Mew. As we make our way through with her, and we actually steal the disc, she runs away, but then Team Rocket is hunting her, and well, guess what? She stole the badges from Red, so now what Red has to do is find her as well. He hears Team Rocket mentioning her, so he decides, okay, well, I'm gonna have to get myself a Team Rocket outfit. We steal one from a guy we beat over by like Route 8 or something. After doing that, we actually head inside of the hideout. We have to battle a few of the people in there because they actually recognize us, but on top of that also, we find a shiny Ditto. Yes, a shiny Ditto inside of one of the tubes. Now, he doesn't actually capture this one, I don't think, but I decided to capture it just for fun, just because I want to have it in my PC. Either way, after dealing with all this, we actually see Blaine as well. Yes, Blaine used to work for Team Rocket in the manga, which is also pretty crazy, and he was one of the people who worked on the Mew project, specifically trying to clone Mew, because Mew, well, they couldn't really capture it. Either way, after dealing with all this, we hear news that she's been found on Route 8, so we go there with all the other Team Rocket members, and guess what? Our Bulbasaur Soar actually evolves into a Ivysaur as well. She's there, and she sends out one of her Pokemon, and while they're in a battle, turns out she sends out a Ditto that she stole from them, I guess, and, well, we try to save her from being attacked by a Tauros, and we both fall off the cliff, and as we escape from the cliff with a Jigglypuff that she uses. Either way, after we escaped, it turns out that, well, she actually used her Ditto and swapped places with the Tauros, so yeah, her Pokemon didn't really get injured at all in this case. She then strikes a deal with us. If we help her out to capture Mew by using one of these devices that she stole, she will actually help us out and give us our badges back. So we agree to the deal, and we look around for Mew. We actually end up finding it. We actually find Mew itself, but we don't manage to actually capture it. We end up doing a bit of damage to it, but then Team Rocket shows up and tries to capture it. So we gotta battle Team Rocket, and after defeating them, well, Mew actually escapes. So that's perfect for our situation. Either way, once we dealt with this, we leave town, and actually she just skirties off and she's gone. And guess what? We decide to go around, and we run into none else than Green. Green is here, and he's got himself a Porygon, and we try to help him capture the Porygon because he can't seem to control it. He actually won it at the game corner in Celadon City, but then he just acts like really rude towards us. Red then takes a bit of a nap and just chills for a bit, and when he wakes up, there is a Ninetales that is fighting Green, and he decides to help out, and actually he defeats the Ninetales, but Green then throws his Pokeball and captures it instead, basically stealing it from Red, which actually makes him very angry. And I mean, hey, I can fully understand that, man. It's not very nice. Nonetheless, though, after dealing with that, we instead head towards the cycling route, which technically isn't really a cycling route 100% yet. Either way, once we get there, well, guess what? Green is right here and he wants to battle us. So we're forced to go into a battle against him. And I mean, we did literally win this battle, but like I said, for some reason, because it's in the manga, we're considered to have lost it, which is really annoying, but either way, we make it all the way down to the end of the cycling route, and we bump into someone. Oh my lord, these guys are acting really rude. The guy here in the front is being really mean. He's talking about how are we being so rude in the presence of somebody so important. It turns out that there is somebody here, and it's Erica specifically. Erica is actually the gym leader of Celadon City, and she tells us, well, come to my gym and maybe I'll give you a task. So we go over to the gym itself, we make it there, and it turns out something sketchy is going on. All her, like, I guess, subordinates, all the people working for her, are being very strange and almost evil. And when we talk to her, she gives us a task. We have to capture an Eevee. So we go all the way down to the cycling route again, and we find ourselves a Jolteon. We try to capture it and battle it, but it runs away from us, and then it transforms into a Vaporeon, which we also battle and defeat, but then it transforms into a Flareon, and after defeating it, it turns out it's an Eevee that has a chip in it. And guess what? It looks like maybe Erica is also evil and doing something wrong. So we head back to the gym, we defeat some of her, I guess, guards, and after taking them all down, we battle her in a battle, and she's acting really strange, and she has a whole evil face and stuff, but after defeating her in a battle, we actually receive her badge, but that's not all. It turns out that she didn't do anything evil. She was actually trying to help this poor Eevee, and she gives it to us for free because we're such a good trainer and a kind person. So that's pretty awesome. And we got now V in the team. That's actually the name of Eevee and specifically Espeon in Red's team during the Pokemon manga. Either way, back to the point, right? So basically what's happened is she took this Eevee back from Team Rocket because they had actually taken it and experimented on it to try to find a way to use all three of its typings and evolutions at the same time, which is pretty crazy. As we're exiting the Celadon gym, a strange Team Rocket member can be seen spying on us and clearly knowing a lot of information about us. Either way, after dealing with all this, we make it all the way down towards Fuchsia City and we run into Brock, who's actually talking to us, and he gives us that Fusion Geodude thingy that he actually uses, which is pretty awesome. But either way, we make it into Fuchsia and we go to the Safari Zone. We explore here and actually capture a Nidorino to add to our squad. Either way, after doing this, we also do a little bit of exploring until eventually we make it all the way to the Diglett Cave. Once we're inside the Diglett Cave, we run into a strange old man. He says he's here looking for fossils, so we help him out and we find a bunch of fossils ourselves. And hopefully we're going to keep these ones and eventually we find some amber. As we're talking to this old man, we get all the way out of this actual cave together with him, and then as we exit it, somebody starts running up to us and says, oh no, the museum is on fire. So we head over to Pewter City and we find that, yeah, the museum is on fire and inside somebody is in danger, a little girl. So we get inside and we see a bunch of Magmars that are causing trouble. So we try to take them on in battle, but they're too difficult. We find a way though to trick them to fall into a hole, and eventually we save the little girl and get out of there. However, the old man who was in there, well, specifically the old man that we met in the Diglett Cave, turns out he might be a bit more evil than we first anticipated, as he actually freezes and kills the Magmar, and he clearly knows who we are as Red. After all of this, we then head back to Fuchsia City, and now that we're here, we actually have the move Strength, so we can move a bunch of these rocks, and wait, hey, look at that, that's awesome. So now that we can do that, we head down to the actual ocean, and here we jump from this cliff down into the ocean, and we swim around. However, it looks like something wrong is happening. There's a Dragonite that steals some of our stuff, so now we gotta go and hunt after this Dragonite in the water. We go after it over and over and over again, but eventually when we corner it and battle it, it is too strong. However, we get saved by none else than Misty. Yes, she comes in and she gives us back our HM03 Surf. And as we talk to her, she tells us that she will trade us a Gyarados, her Gyarados that she's now calmed down, for a Krabby. So we gotta go back into the water, we find a Krabby, we capture it, bring it of course to Misty and trade it. And that's the end of that little chapter right there. Awesomely, we got ourselves a Gyarados in the team right now, which is great. However, after doing this, we get on our Poliwhirls back and surf all the way over to the Seafoam Islands. Our team does seem a little bit worried about entering the Seafoam Islands, but we start exploring and it looks like Team Rocket is here. After loads of different battles, we discover why they are here. They're actually looking for Articuno, the legendary bird Pokemon. This is one of the 3 legendary birds of Kanto, and they're trying to capture it. We find it and they stop us, and we kind of go into this fight where it decides to escape from the situation. The Articuno is just not having a great time. So we try to go after it and of course deal with all the Team Rocket members along the way. As we make our way down, we actually run into a really strong Team Rocket member and we get cornered by none else than Blaine. But it turns out Blaine is actually on our side and he's against the Team Rocket members. So he helps us escape, and as we're escaping, he asks us to find 3 items as he needs those to make a diversion. As we do that though, well, we find all the items that are necessary and then we make the diversion happen. However, a freaking Moltres is sent out by Team Rocket. Yes, they captured Moltres, the legendary Firebird. They actually captured it and they sent it out against us. However, Blaine tells us, hey, listen, you have a fossil. We need basically a flying type Pokemon. We need something to stop this Moltres. And you have a fossil and I have a lab which can actually revive fossils. Here's the key to the lab. Go inside the volcano. That's where it's located. So we take the key, run inside the actual volcano and do a bit of exploring. We look around, try to find wherever his lab is. Of course, there's a bunch of Team Rocket members in here. And, well, we deal with all of them and eventually make it to his lab. And here we revive well, Aerodactyl. Yes, Aerodactyl is actually a Pokemon that is used by Red in the anime. He actually uses an Aerodactyl, so we add that to our squad as it's going to be useful against the Moltres. So we go over now back to him and try to save Blaine from the Moltres. As we battle the Moltres, it is easily taken down with the help of our teammates, and after defeating it, well, it's gone now, and Blaine is going to just be going and doing his own thing, but thanks to us saving him, he actually gives us, well, the badge that belonged to him. So now we have another badge in our, arsenal, I guess, in this case. So after dealing with that, we're now in Cinnabar Island, and well, what's going on? Well, we gotta make it back to Palatown. We also learned that the Articuno, Moltres, as well as Zapdos have been caught by the triad of Team Rocket. These guys are the 3 gym leaders that work for Giovanni. And well, here is Giovanni as well, and says that now that the Mewtwo project is moot, well, these Pokemon will be their aces. And guess what? On the other side of the map, actually, we've seen actually Blue trying to enter Saffron City, but Saffron City is currently locked up and she's not given access. And as she's trying to enter, she decides, okay, well, if I can't go through the regular way, well, maybe I can go through a different way. So she decides to use her Jigglypuff to fly in the sky to fly into the city. As she's doing that, though, something strange happens. She runs into Green, of all people, on a Charizard, and well, there doesn't seem to be anything possible for them to actually enter. It turns out that there's a giant, well, I guess portal, not portal, I guess maybe shield is the right word to use. It's a giant shield, barrier, whatever you want to call it, that's actually blocking access to the city. So none of them can actually enter there at the moment. There's a psychic Pokemon inside the city that's causing all this trouble. All right, it's about time we make it back to Palatown. So that's what we do. We head back to Palatown by surfing there from Cinnabar Island. As we reach Palatown, though, something ominous is going on. Everybody's missing. It's very quiet and nobody can be found, which is really strange. So we start exploring and looking for all the people. We go into Professor Oak's lab, but interestingly enough, we see him there and we're like, all right, great, Oak is here, except it isn't Oak. It's some kind of Pokemon almost. And it turns out, well, it is actually a Pokemon that's been disguised to look just like Professor Oak. And somebody shows up called Sabrina. Well, you guys know Sabrina as a gym leader. Well, she's one of the triads and she's one of the evil people in Team Rocket. One of the triad, members, I guess, who's controlling one of the legendaries. So she's here. She tells us that they kidnapped pretty much all of our, I guess, family, friends, and people in Palatown, and have now taken them away. So we gotta, well, go and fix that situation. And all of a sudden, Green shows up, and he already knows what has happened. He tells us that we can't really fly into the city, so we're gonna have to try something else. So we slowly make our way towards the city. We get to Saffron. We meet up with Green and Blue as well, and we figure out a plan. We're gonna use Pikachu. Basically, we're gonna use telekinesis and Pikachu to kind of make it into the city, and then to take down the Mr. Mime, which has put out the giant barrier on Saffron City. After doing this, we get access to the city, and now it's just time to run around and take down all the Team Rocket members. One of the first ones we actually run into is these guys, and we end up defeating them, and what happens is Sabrina shows up, and she literally kills this guy. She kills one of the Team Rocket members, which is just brutal, man. Seriously, if this is all in the manga, I mean, some of the stuff I haven't read all the way till the end of the chapters, but some of the stuff is genuinely brutal, man, which I think is pretty cool. Makes Pokemon way more realistic. So, either way, after yoinking him, now we gotta go and meet up with the rest, and time to make our way inside of the actual Saffron City Silphco building. This is the big one, so it's going to take a while. We then head inside of the Silphco building together with, of course, Green, and as we're heading in, well, the other members of the Triad are preparing to take us on and to, well, settle their scores with us. As we enter inside, though, the building is pretty fancy and big, but we get separated from, of course, Green here, and Koga decides to battle Green. Meanwhile, we make it all the way throughout the whole building. There's a lot of battles, a lot of things to look for, and it takes a bit of time. I'm not even gonna lie, it's really time-consuming, but after doing all of that, eventually we do get to a room that looks like Lieutenant Surge's, well, actual gym. And this is because this is exactly what it's based on, right? This is Lieutenant Surge's little place where he's going to be battling us, and he's going to be using a Zapdos of all things, which is bloody ridiculous. But fear not, we're going to be able to battle him pretty easily. So he also uses a Voltorb gun. That's like the first thing he has, which is a real thing in the manga, by the way. For some reason, there's a Voltorb gun. Don't ask me why. But either way, after we dealt with him and, well, pretty much defeated his Zapdos, taking it down pretty easily, because we do have a lot of teammates here that can do a lot of damage. And so after we taken him down, well, we gotta go and help out our buddy who's dealing with Koga. So we go over and try to help out Green with Koga, of course, and yeah, well, he can handle himself pretty well as Koga gets knocked out and sent out a freaking wall, literally, at this point. So we go outside the wall and we decide to fly around to actually make our way up as specifically Green. So as we're flying up, we make it all the way to the top area, not the top, but towards the top area. And what's interesting is we specifically run into, well, an old man who specifically is called Sylph, Mr. Sylph, or, well, the guy who runs the Silphco company. Turns out he's in cahoots. He's working together with none else than Giovanni, the leader of Team Rocket. They're working together, which is really interesting. So we battle him, and, well, we take him on with, of course, I guess, Green's team in this case, and we're able to defeat him relatively easily. His team is not that difficult. Well, guess what? Then, none else than Sylph decides to actually, well, plead for his life, because Giovanni realizes he has no use for him, and he's gonna basically kill him, which is exactly what he does, because he sees Sylph as a bit of a threat, but he was paying him up until now, or being paid, rather, by Sylph, to gotta capture Pokemon so Sylph could use those for specifically a bunch of experiments. Either way, after dealing with that, ladies and gentlemen, we also make our way down and over to switch over to specifically Blue. She's interacting with Silver, and it seems like they're doing something weird together that they're planning to take down Giovanni together with, which is interesting as well. When we return back to Red, well, he's actually found the disc and the thing that, well, Blue was actually looking for, and it turns out that Sabrina is here, so he's kind of freaking out a bit, and he figures out that he can put his badges inside of this device, because the badges in the Pokemon manga actually power up Pokemon. They genuinely power them up, just like in the games. Either way, though, he now tries to battle this girl, but it turns out this isn't actually Sabrina from the Team Rocket. It's actually a Blue disguised as her instead, which is fine, but then the real Sabrina actually shows up, and, well, Blue just runs away after taking all the devices and stuff away from us, and just leaves us hanging. So, now we're gonna battle Sabrina, and she's using all of the legendary birds. So we gotta take on Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres, and that's exactly what we do. We take them all down, and after defeating them, well, guess what? She actually still gets her hands on devices. Specifically, Sabrina gets her hands on it, and what she does is she uses it, or actually, rather, Blue uses it, and fuses together Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres, and we get this fusion Pokemon, which is a real one in the manga as well, and guess what? It is pretty difficult to defeat. However, we're not going to do it alone, though. We're actually going to be working together with Blue, Green, and, you know, them to go up all the way to the top of the tower of the whole map, and we're going to be taking them on right there. So, the others are here, and guess what? Even Brock, Erica, and also Misty are here, too. So now that we're up here, the other two are using their starter Pokemon, so Charizard and Blastoise, and guess what? Our Ivysaur decides it's time to actually evolve, and that's what it does, ladies and gentlemen. We now have a Venusaur, and it's time to take down this giant legendary bird, and I mean legendary bird fusion. This battle, I'm gonna be honest, was a really long one. It took a long time, a lot of trying, a lot of retrying. We had to actually go back a few times to buy a few, like, you know, potions and revives and all that kind of stuff to be able to actually take this mission down. But eventually, after a lot of trying, we managed to do it. We take down the Thufizier, whatever you want to call it, the fusion. Once it's taken down, guess what? We finished that. We've taken down Sabrina, and Team Rocket is in shambles. So, Giovanni has lost, well, Sylph is dead, and we make it down to the bottom, and everybody's here happy and glad that we were able to stop Team Rocket once and for all. But that's not all, though. Things are not done just yet. Something is going on in Cerulean City as Misty runs off there all of a sudden, and Blue is missing because, well, she got angry that she couldn't get that legendary Pokemon that she was looking for. But that's not the end of the world. We then make our way to Cerulean City, where we talk to Misty, and we discover something wrong. There's a storm, earthquakes, something is happening. So we head up to a close by route, and here we run into Blaine of all people, and also Mewtwo. Yes, we run into Mewtwo, and well, we learn from Blaine that Mewtwo is actually a Pokemon, a clone of specifically Mew, but not just any kind of clone. It's a clone that also uses a little bit of Blaine's actual DNA. It uses some of his actual DNA, some of his blood, some of his, you know, bodily fluids to actually create it. So Mewtwo and Blaine are actually connected, and for whatever reason, that's the case right here. He tries to go after Mewtwo on his own to take it down, except, well, we ask him to help him, but he doesn't allow us, so we battle him to let him help, I guess, let us help him out. It's really strange. Nonetheless, though, we eventually find Mewtwo, we defeat it, and once we defeated it and we capture it with a Master Ball he gave us, we actually give it to him, and now he's going to work on being a better person. After finishing that up, we actually head back to Viridian City, where seemingly a character called Yellow, yes, there is a character called Yellow in the Pokemon manga, and also that's technically the character kind of that you play as in Pokemon Yellow version. I don't know, it's a little bit off, but nonetheless, though, Yellow is a little kid at this point and has ran into the forest and gotten lost, so we gotta help out and figure out what the deal is here. So we look for Yellow, we find Yellow dealing with a really angry Dragoneer, which just looks really, really furious. Either way, we make it down towards the others. We get down down specifically to, I guess, Pallet Town and Viridian City, and it's about time we go and take on the Pokemon League. But first, we also need to defeat the Viridian City gym. So we go inside, and there's a bunch of puzzles and stuff, and, well, it turns out that at the edge and the end of this gym, we run into Giovanni, the leader of Team Rocket, and he's the gym leader of this place as well. So what do? Well, we take him on in a battle. We make sure to take him on, and of course, we try to defeat him. He tells us to pick one Pokemon to battle, and we pick, well, specifically Magmar, so he burns all our Pokemon by choosing Magmar. Either way, though, this battle ends up being in our favor. We are very strong. Again, we're super over-leveled thanks to our Poliwrath. I'm not even gonna lie. So we're able to take him down without too much of a hitch. Afterwards, though, he decides to disband all of Team Rocket, and he actually meets up with Jesse and James, like his main accomplices and main, I guess, employees. Either way, after all of that, ladies and gentlemen, it's about time we go and take on the Pokemon League. So we get inside, and, well, we run into the fan club guy, the president, and he's being crazy, and he's demanding us to give our Pokemon to him. However, well, guess what? He gets kicked out by Officer Jenny. After all of this, after we've dealt with that, it's time to take on the Indigo League tournament, and it is a tournament in this case, not an actual, like, Elite Four and Champion. So, either way, what's gonna happen next? Well, here's what happens. We go in, and we take on all the different trainers along the way on the Victory Road, and once we enter it, we start getting battles with a lot of these weird characters that all call themselves different names, like Indigo, Violet, White, like all these weird names, man, and they're all basically characters from Pallet Town, which is bloody ridiculous, and even Red gets a little bit annoyed at it and thinks it's just a little insane. Either way, though, ladies and gentlemen, after we made it through all of them, we get up into the actual Pokemon League, and now that we're here, we're in the top 4. We gotta now go and take on, guess who? Well, we gotta take on someone, and we're hoping to battle Green. However, we first go and talk to everyone. We talk to Bill, we talk to a few other characters, and afterwards, it's time to go and take things on. First battle is actually going to be Mr. X, or this strange dude, Dr. X, I don't even know what to call him, this fella, and he's battling specifically against Blue, and he takes her down, and he, well, reveals himself to be Professor Oak, and he realizes that, hey, Blue, you stole my Squirtle. You were the one who stole my Squirtle from me, and not just that, you didn't just steal it, you also have a fear of flying type Pokemon, because she was taken by a flying type Pokemon when she was just a kid and had to live her life all alone. So it is a bit crazy, I'm not even gonna lie, but nonetheless though, after that battle, Professor Oak forfeits, which means that the final battle is gonna be between us and Green. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. The final battle is here. Let's freaking go. So we're up against none else than Green, of course, and well, this battle is going to be quite intense. He starts off with a Golduck. We're going to, of course, go for Polly first out. We go for Waterfall, and of course, also hit him with, I think, a close combat there. I could be wrong. Either way, though, that one is down. He also has a Porygon, which we take with a few Ice Beams, which do a ridiculous amount of damage. Next up is going to be Scyther. Same thing here. We just go for the, well, the Ice Beam, and we also get the Freeze Hacks, which is perfect in our regard. Also, Rhydon is up next. Here, we just go for Waterfall. It's a 1-hit KO, leaving only Machamp left of all his Pokemon. We go for Bulldoze, which wasn't the smartest choice. We go for an Ice Beam afterwards, and ladies and gentlemen, there it is. The winner is Red, and now we've become champion of the region. It is pretty crazy, man, and that's it. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. We became the champion. We are the winner. Blue actually scammed her way into becoming the 3rd place, which is really dumb. But either way, though, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. The end of the Indigo League and the epilogue plays, where basically the guys just go back to town and meet up with everybody, say hello to all the other people. And that's going to be also it for today's video, guys. Check out my video where I played specifically as Professor Oak. It's an awesome game as well. Give it a look, and I'll see you guys the next time. Peace out.